The sheriff's done that. They couldn't put the loudest. The same circuit.
Do you usually work nights or? Schenectady?
Yes,
Okay.
all these meetings.
I usually work days, so that's probably.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think it's the first time I've had a camera for any of these.
Oh, really? I'm trying to just miss, we previewed it like a few weeks ago, I want to say. Isn't that the?
I saw you Sunday morning early. Running up in
This past Sunday, or this past Sunday?
It was early in one morning.
Saturday.
Yeah, running like a madman.
That was probably me.
That was you.
I mean, if you see somebody running, it most likely is me.
Yes.
Yeah, I had to get it done early.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because we went to Concord, New York for a half,
Oh, okay.
so I had to get up early.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hi guys.
Hello. Hi, Mr. Ferrari. I'm good. How you doing?
Fine.
How are you?
Hello.
How's work going? So you got your outfit shirt on?
Yeah.
Busy?
It's always busy.
It's close to the walk-in,
Urgent care, yeah.
urgent care, I know it was. It was used to be so great.
Yeah, most nights I'm coming downtown.
Okay. And then we ended up going to Clifton Park. They were very, very good there too.
Yeah, they're also really busy.
How are you?
You got one for you?
Before the
Trying to do one? Well, I would like to know, and I'll ask. Yeah, about that, you know, this just thing. From this, oh, yeah, Mary, I forwarded to you?
I haven't seen that.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah, sure.
I'd like to call to order the Schenectady City Council Committee meeting for Tuesday, October 31st, 2023. And I'll turn it over to Mr. Mugavera.
Thank you. All the finance committee, when we met, we had recessed the meeting to get answer regarding to the $2.5 million ARPA allocation. Mr. Ferrari, can you give, I know you sent an email, just for the sake of the public, can you just walk us through that? Or just,
Here, you want to walk through that?
Sorry, what was that?
the $2.5 million that we asked question about?
Sure, I could, just go to my email. About how we could use the $2.5 million ARPA funds.
Yes.
So after discussion with our audit company, I believe that I sent an email to the city council, or to Marion and Porterfield, city council president, and John Woodbury, and listed what we can and what we can't do with 2.5 million. Noted on this email, the 2.5 million can be used for specific capital projects. What it cannot be used for is premium pay, the rehiring of public sector staff, and the city can't be used as lost revenue because we already have a different section that's broken down from the 5.2% ruling. So only what we can do currently is use the 2.5 million for capital projects. If you'd like me to read what I wrote to in the email to the city council, I can.
Did you all get that?
Okay.
We don't need you to read.
Okay.
We forwarded it.
Perfect.
No, the email that you forward to us is that came from the auditors directly?
If you look underneath, there's a response from the auditors. If you look in the, I believe it's highlighted in red, those are the responses from the auditors. And then I just wrote my own summary that was sent to the city council.
Any question on that?
Well, I don't have questions, but I did do some research over the weekend, and just keeping in mind, this is not part of this, is gonna happen in New York. But, there were other municipalities that use the money in that way, and, I can pass out so we don't have to, I don't have to read to you. I can pass out the information that, and the fees that mandate violated the spending clause. So again, it didn't happen in New York, however, it did happen in other states. And so, because we're really trying to figure out how one more?
Please.
Okay. Yep. Oh, I'm sorry. Sam? Okay, we're all good? Yep. Okay. So just trying to figure out how we can, balance this budget and be able to use the ARPA funds to do it. So just providing that information to you, and we, need to be able to move forward and see if we want to consider using it based on what has happened in other states. There's that, and then I have another question, Mr. Mugavera.
Go ahead.
So, the question is, I guess, for Mr. Ferrari, I sent the email out, and all of you got it, about line A5182, and so, then and I sent it forward, and the mayor, received an answer from, Ms. Nelson, and in it, she said that it would be used for, paying out debt, and she said up until 2028.
I think you were talking about the rev payment, the 1.3 million?
Yes,
Okay, yeah, that is gonna be the final payment of the 3-year rev demonstration that we are doing. I think the mayor has a negotiation now to try to offset some of those costs to lower it. Of course, through 2028, what's gonna be happening is that we're gonna be paying, support fees for that, but I believe that's gonna be right in our communications budget that we have.
because the email that we got said that it was like 102,000 a year through 2028.
Could be, yeah.
Yeah, but that doesn't, so that's.
It's not a single line, it's part of the John Coluccio's budget.
But it doesn't add up to 1.3 million, even if
No,
we
no,
take it
no,
out.
because the 1.3 million, if you remember, we paid it in 21, 22, and now we're gonna pay it the last payment 23, 1.3. That's for the whole rev demonstration. The 102 is the additional cost of, I believe, Merit software and.
Correct.
Right,
Yeah.
but that's, okay, because that's not the answer that we got from Ms. Nelson. That you forwarded to us.
What was her answer?
Okay, so my email won't open in this room.
I have it.
That is the answer.
Okay, now I get it.
What's her name?
Okay.
Business.
She's saying that it's in a debt service line, GLA 9714-600, budget transfer is done from the A515 code.
Yeah.
And then she goes on to, and she says that it's gonna be upcoming payment in January, February, 24 is the last large payment.
That's the
And she
1.3
said, okay, and there's still yearly payments of 1,102,000. And then she said, in reviewing the proposal, she doesn't see anything at all in those two lines. So that was my question, why we're not seeing it in the lines?
Because I believe John Coluccio put it under his lines, in his line, under his categories.
Where?
I wish I could call John.
No, you can't hold that.
I know I can't, because I wish I could.
Page 37,
Thank you, John.
it's on the street lighting.
It could be on the street lighting, yeah. Where is it?
Right there, yep. That's the one I'm talking about.
There's nothing in 2024.
There's nothing in 2024.
No, but because the final payment of the 1.35 million.
Year 23.
The 1.35, 350 is gonna be the final payment. Now, Light Power and Gas is where he put the 102,000 in. Because that's gonna be not only through 228, but it's probably gonna be going on forever. The line above the Light Power and Gas. The National Grid Smart City Network, the contractual, that's gonna be the last payment. And
This
we're-
entire amount,
The 1.351350.
it's already been encumbered?
We're gonna pay it in February. I think she mentioned that, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
That's what she
that's what we do. And I think the mayor's in negotiation right now, trying to lower that number because of, whatever reasons that he can. But I believe the 102,000 goes into the regular power, light, and gas number.
And my other question was about the smart cities, the $2 million that was, that showed up in the 21 budget, we haven't seen it going forward in any other budget, and where that funding was.
Well, we're almost complete with that. I believe the mayor and John Coluccio and Blind had gotten a grant there. Is that your recall?
I didn't put anything in this capital budget, so I believe there's grant money out there that we should pursue, and if it put money in the capital budget, a lot of times it disqualifies us from grant money where it's already being paid for.
So the money that we put aside like numerous
We're
years,
using it. It's almost done.
that's my question.
Yeah.
It's already been encumbered?
Oh,
That's what you said.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
That's
yeah.
what you said.
Yeah.
Right, so, well, okay, then those questions are answered? They're not showing up here, but so it's hard to know if it's not there.
Well, it won't show up there. It'll show up in
In the 23?
Yeah, as a capital expense, which is, we don't have, these are just capital for this year, it's not for the prior years.
Right, and it only showed up in 21, it didn't show up in 22, it didn't show up in
Correct,
22.
because we didn't borrow any money in 21, 22, because I believe the mayor's been working on getting grants.
Okay, so those are my questions, so there's no other funding out there, there's no other money that we can use, John, Mr. Rivera? So, those are my questions.
Since we got it here, can we ask Mr. Pauling for, if he can review this and give us an opinion, if it's possible?
You know, I've talked to Mr. Marty about this, obviously I wasn't here last week. Mr. Marty looked into this a little bit. My understanding is the Second Circuit, which is where we are, has not taken this type of case yet. Be hard to determine what the Second Circuit will do, just because, we have other circuits that have, looked at this. That doesn't necessarily mean that the Second Circuit would, come out one particular way or another particular way. So it'd be hard to say, if somebody were to challenge, the tax offset prohibition in the Second Circuit, where that court would, decide it to be.
Or do you have any other questions?
Those were my
Last week you had mentioned you would like to review the capital, or talk about something about it. I have a note here.
Yeah, I was, I think I mentioned it. It was, for the stairs, we did talk about the stairs for the reservoir. $500,000. And my question was, did the stairs actually go to the reservoir, or did they go to the residents? So, as I recall, Mr. LaFawn said they went all the way up to the reservoir, so I did ask that question.
Also, you got an answer?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Curry, you just want to walk us through, highlight the benefit of the following, please?
Yes. The council budget changes for general fund. These are the budget changes that the council had spoken to us about how you want to make changes. The first one is from the mayor's budget, his original budget of $6.9 million, $59,273 for refusing trash charges. You proposed the change back to the 2023 budget, so that was $1,032,990 change. The second was you increased the appropriation of fund balance by $320,296. So the mayor's original budget of $3,800,241 is now will be appropriated to $4,120,537. The total amount of changes that you made in general fund and revenue was a total of reduction of revenues by $1,412,694, and taking the mayor's original budget of $111,086,420 to $109,673.726. And then, do you want me to go line by line, or
No.
you just can see it?
No, please.
We have the salaries changes, we have the police overtime changes, we have the fleet manager changes, the street manager changes, and what we had added on the back was the portion of benefits. When we finished the whole, thing, again, it was a reduction of $1,412,694 was reduced from expenditures. So revenues match expenditures of $109,673.726. after we make those changes.
Any questions, guys?
Makes sense. Well, where is the,
There's a- It's on the back too.
Yeah, questions?
no, I found it.
So Ms. Portfield, based on the email from you, what is your position regarding 2.5 million
Well,
that we use on the sewer fund?
at this point in time, since we're not clear and it hasn't happened in New York, I don't know that we wanna necessarily roll the dice on that. So, based on what our corporation counsel says, because we haven't seen it in New York. So we don't know what would happen even if we saw it in another municipality within New York State, I'd certainly be much more comfortable, saying that we should go ahead and do it, but without having seen that. I don't know that we should do that. So we'd have to, so that's my position on that, but everybody else is here, so they can certainly, weigh in.
I would support what our finance staff is recommending.
Any other suggestion? And Ms. Portman, since you are making a suggestion here, where are we gonna find 2.5 million?
I mean, there aren't a lot of places to find it, there's just our fund balance, and that's it. There's no place else. It's not like we have a magic money tree to pull it off.
Go ahead.
Mr. Butcher and council, the water and sewer fund is only going to increase, it's not going to decrease. Our debt payments just for the wastewater treatment plant and the North Ferry Creek pump station is going to be over $1 million a year. I implore you to please think about raising the water and sewer rate increases. We're only talking water and sewer, $90.46 a year per unit, $22.62 per quarter. We're not asking for much, but you're gonna have to raise it. Next year, you're gonna have to raise it double because you're putting yourself in a predicament where you're not trying to overcome, you're not overcoming your debt. And then you're gonna use all your fund balance and it's gonna just put more pressure on you guys going forward financially. Like I said, next year, you're gonna probably have to double if you don't raise it this year. First of all, because you're not gonna have a fund balance, you use fund balance, you got any fund balance left to use, and then you're gonna have to increase the rates to get a fund balance and pay for the debt and the work. Contracts are up, everything is increasing, I have to tell you. And I think the safest and smartest move is to raise the water and sewer rate increase at the proportions that the mayor put in the budget originally. I just wanted to say that, it's being financially sound.
And if we decide not to, the majority council decide not to raise this total of the water and sewer will have to come out from the general reserve to balance the budget.
Wow. Derek, can you talk about the fund balance? We also talked to our fiscal advisors about our fund balance.
Our fiscal advisors, suggested that there's a certain range, they specifically talked about the general fund, and that specific range of fund balance to total expenses should be between 13 and 15%. The way we're looking towards using our fund balance, we're looking to be below that range, and that's going to affect our bond rating.
I can read exactly what he wrote here. Okay, from the city's 22 audit, total fund balance as a percentage of expenditures is 19.6%. If the fund balance decreases by 3.8 million, well, if you're gonna add another 2.5, we're talking 6, you're talking 3 more million, and we're at 4, you're talking 7 million, so you're doubling this. The total fund balance of percentage will decrease to 15.7%, but that's at 3.8 million. At 7 million, like you're talking to, you're going down to what, 9% we're looking at?
Around there.
9%. And these levels, above 13 to 15%, are not as high as 22%. It's important to note that assumption expenses are held constant at the 22 level, which we know they're not. If there are not initial surplus or deficiencies in the city results operations, any changes to these variables impact the metric as well. Okay. What does it say? They refer to these projects and programs as a tail of using ARPA funds, and they would view future expenses without a revenue source as negative or pressure on the finance of the city, depending on the amount of future costs the city would need to absorb in future years. Okay, that's the good part.
That's the good part, is that what you said?
Any decrease of the fund balance below the 13% year end will impact the metrics that calculate the city's rating, and depending on the extent of the decrease could place downward pressure on the rating. As the last rating report, the fund balance as a percentage of expenditure showed a positive, strong, and budgetary flexibility. And this will put pressure on us because we're going the opposite view of that. I just want to let you know that. And that's what I'm saying, you're putting yourself pressure, without raising these rates, you're putting pressure on the city finances and your finances, not personally, but when you do this budget next year, you're putting a lot of pressure on yourselves, because now you're gonna really have to raise in all aspects, water, sewer, general. And the reason I'm saying this is the rate is not a big rate to increase, and you're looking to, in the capital projects, water and sewer again, you're looking to borrow and the sewer fund another 1.5 million and another 950,000 in water, sewer 1.5. And we've been using reserves for the last maybe 5 years, so we haven't borrowed any money from water and sewer. And we're anticipating the use, this borrowing for the wastewater treatment plant, and we were planning on getting this thing. COVID happened and things just exploded. Now what I'm saying is that I think it's in your best interest to raise the rates on water and sewer.
So are you saying that we have some capital projects in water and sewer? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
So according to what Mr. Gugelmuk said, that we could use that 2.5 there, so that would lessen our borrowing. That's what his email said.
I would love for you guys to use
That's
money
what his email said.
for water and sewer. Yeah, but that's not affecting
Right, but it would
water
affect our
sewer
borrowing.
next year. Yeah, I mean 2025 is gonna, because that's when you start paying for the debt. But I'm saying for water and sewer now, you should raise the rates. Believe me, as a homeowner, I really would like to see water and rates go up, but I know for a fact that, the single family that I have, I'm only paid less than $300 a year for my water. And I know for a fact that my brother is in Rotterdam paying $600 a year, and my brother in Rotterdam Junction is paying $1,100 a year for water. So I know we're doing great. So for another $16 a year, make it $316, I feel like I'm getting a deal. Our sewer, right now, a single family is about $433. We're asking for $74. It sounds like a lot, but we have the wastewater treatment plant, we have the new pump station. We're working to everything to update our whole infrastructure for the future. And what I'm saying, if you don't raise these rates, and then you're doing the stalling of future, of financial future for not only the water and sewer, but I think for the city as a whole. And we're only looking at $90.46 a year for water and sewer, comes to $22.62 per quarter. Use that for your tax bill per unit. So if you have a 2 unit, it'd be $45.12, 22 cents, 24 cents.
I mean, based on prior discussion, I don't think, based on prior discussion, I don't think that we have a majority of members supporting raising the fees.
You want to take a quick, it's up to you guys. It's up to
We discussed.
I don't know what to tell you.
discussed this plan.
I'm just trying to have you guys financially sound, when I leave here, I want to be able to
Yeah.
feel good about myself.
Have we all received a copy of that?
This was done a few
On the
weeks
multiple
ago.
papers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It also has the waste increase, but now, we're done with the general portion. I'm just looking at these two numbers, 60, 74, 20.
Oh, not that one, that narrative you just said,
But
Oh, that you read.
these, no, I can get them for you, though.
if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks, Sam.
So you want to copy now or just later?
If you wouldn't mind.
That comes to $1.74 a week. It's less than a pack of cigarettes.
Oh,
Way less than that.
It's less than a coffee. 24 cents a day. I mean, I have the numbers, so I'm just throwing it out there for you. I'm trying to help, you believe me. I'm not trying to do anything negative here. When you're at this table next year, you're gonna be raising these rates double. You're gonna say, we should listen to Anthony Ferrari.
Well, actually, Mr. Woodburn, I think that's a good point, because I believe that last year we didn't support what the mayor's budget asked for in water, sewer, and trash, and so that probably helped put us into more of a
We
big
could
this
have.
year. Right,
Water and sewer.
That's
we could
right.
have, yeah.
so that probably did exactly, that put us into a little bit of a pickle this year.
That's why we had a double this year. The half plus the other half.
Just playing out what you're saying for next year.
Next year it's gonna even double.
Unless we increase our revenue, we should, right, work on that.
Yeah, but this is how you increase your revenue, right?
This
Well,
is increasing
other
the
places,
revenue.
besides just taxing.
But your water and sewer, there's not a lot of places you can, not a lot of places you can add revenue to.
Mr. Ferrari, in regards to our pilot, I think we didn't touch on that this year.
Excuse me?
Pilot program. Can you give us a little brief update on that, how it's going?
The pilot program, I think, is at 2.5 million. I got that number from, Metroplex. 2.6 million, 2.550, that's what it was. It was payment in lieu of taxes. Yeah, pilot. Yep, 2,550,000. I got that number from Metroplex. That is, the deals that, excuse me, Mayor, what is that company? Schenectady Fed
Well,
Industrial.
the City
IDA?
Industrial Development Agency and Metroplex are the two that are authorized to enter into pilot agreements with economic development projects.
So that's the number of pilots that we're going to be receiving over this year.
So Mayor, be clear that that's not part of something that you're involved in as well? I know you said the IDA in Metroplex, so as the chief executive of the city, then that's not something that,
Well, I participate in some of the discussions for lining up the deals or attracting businesses here. But the authority to grant the pilots are solely with the Metroplex and the City Industrial Development Agency.
thank you.
Well, for that matter, the County Industrial Development Agency also could do some, but the city would run everything through the city agency.
Thank you. Oh, this is one for this issue. Okay.
I think the chart is on the next page.
Oh. So, here we are.
Quickly, how do we move forward?
I don't see, any way around if there's no movement on, increasing the fees, then we would have to take it from the fund balance. It was brought up that we did do half last year, so I guess the other consideration is do we do half this year? Just putting that out there for discussion.
Oh, I was gonna start talking.
Oh.
So I think my position still remains that we should not increase the fund balance. However, as I'm hearing this information and digesting it in real time, to make sure Anthony recognizes I'm not oblivious to what's lying ahead. I want to make sure we're presenting this increase to the city, having taken additional steps. So I guess my question is, you mentioned 9%, and the packet she highlights, or this individual highlights 15.7, so.
It was from 21 to 22.
So if this 13 to 15% is the ideal metric,
Correct.
and that 9%, how do we bridge that gap? Or is,
Well,
does
if
that,
you're
does
using it, you have the numbers.
That's if worst case scenario, if we use 23's total fund balance, and then what is proposed by City Council for 2024.
so the proposed tax increases by the mayor, does that exceed that gap of 9% and the recommended 13 to 15%? That's my question, if that makes sense.
let me just say the increase does not go into general fund, it's strictly for water and sewer. What Mr. Mutria wanted to do was actually take money out of the general fund for water and sewer, but then there would be a $2.5 million gap, or $3 million gap, which he wanted to fund with reserves. So that means, right now, I think, if you look at our 2024 budget, we have, in 2023, we've allocated appropriate fund balance of 4.5 million, and now in 2024, just without Mr. McGrath's suggestion, we're at 4.1 million. So it's taking out of the 8.4 million of unfunded, of unassigned, we're going to be using 4.1 and 4.5, 8.6 million. So we're going to be way over the 9%. If you look at using that portion, so what's left over, that portion, over the 109 million, right? Is that how, am I saying it right there?
So you're taking the,
And that's not even including the
total
2.5
fund
million.
balance compared to the actual expenses, for the, general operating. And that's how you get the percentage.
Right, so show the percentage, how did you figure it out?
For example, with the council, I believe, if for the 2023 fund balance, so for both the $18.9 million we read in 22 audited financials. If we take the 23 fund balance of 4.5 million approximately, then whether it is the council's proposed fund balance of 4.1, you reduce that 18.9 million by those two numbers, you come up with approximately 10,279,000. You do the math, divide that by the total expenses by the proposed budget of the council changes, and that's about approximately 9%.
And then if you add another 2.5 million, that'll bring that, the 10 million down to 8 million. So divide 109 by 8 million, we're looking at even a less than 9%. So we're way below the 13%. So what I'm saying is at least save the 2.5 million by raising the water and sewer rates. That's what I'm saying, instead of using the function which you want to do. And like it says, then next year, you know, you have less of a worry about using funds, because now you don't have a fund balance to rely on, because you used it this year. You're gonna have to raise property tax, waste. You're gonna have to raise the water. You're gonna have to raise sewer. You're gonna probably have to find some other things you're gonna have to raise.
Right, I understand the logic of that. Can you provide, or how quickly could you assess what increasing the taxes by 50%, as Ms. Porterfield highlighted?
50 for water and sewer?
Water and sewer rates? Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
You want us to come back with that?
Mr. Whitaker, did you hear his request?
So after we go, or keep, I think we'd better do it on our computer.
Yeah.
You don't want to use your phone?
Or my handwritten. Excuse us.
To be seen. And then the overall decision. So like if we refer to the
31st, yeah.
But I realize nothing happens unless you don't have everybody in here, because then the city will shut down.
I think we should do it tonight.
Oh, I'm not disagreeing
Oh,
with that.
okay.
I'm just saying to you, it's not like NWO, it's just we don't have at the beginning of the year, we have no money to spend then. I just, no, so I think probably go off the park, I really need something. I'm gonna leave the room and get my own snacks.
Correct.
I'm gonna go eat my Lorna Doons, I don't know.
You wanted one quick that seems right. Change from the fifth. And then also maybe changing the total law administration, administrative salaries year to year as well. And it's also changing the overall law department budget. Right, so we're changing below even that department.
Okay, I will let that
Right.
position is done. It's great, but I'm sure you'll get identified later.
Correct.
I hope you have a lot of
If we have
kids.
more.
We do, actually.
I feel like that's all I've been doing.
We were expecting trick-or-treaters, besides
Oh.
Andrew.
Oh, besides Andy, is that what you said?
What was that?
That she is expecting trick-or-treaters besides you.
Do you want me to bring the bowl here now?
Maybe wait a little bit.
Wait a little bit, okay. I did too.
I'm like, oh.
I couldn't read these percentages.
You hadn't paid anything.
I know.
And she goes, this week.
Really?
You just have him pass it. We threw waste in there just in case you consider half a waste. It's coming.
Okay.
This was 50%?
Yeah. Okay. Let's start with the sewer, proposed sewer budget. Now, the 50% change in the sewer budget. So the city council changes, as you can see, from the proposed 2024 budget to the 50% increase, changes the cost by 1.2 million, 1,261,987. So to make up the difference, we're gonna have to use appropriated fund balance from the sewer department of $261,987. Now, the sewer fund has amount of 3.1 million available. So I do not see, that's almost half. I do not see you going any over this, more than this. 1.61 million. I would like to see a full 100%, because when you come here next year, you're gonna be doing the same thing all over again.
I understand that, Mr.
I
Ferrari.
just want to alleviate. I want to study that again. Okay, so, in the water department, the 50% changes, as you can see, we're going from 441,708, we're increasing with 800 originally, cutting it in half by 441,000, and we're using appropriated fund balance of $441,708 to balance that. The water fund has 2.2 million available, so we're going to be again. I don't think we should go any lower than that. Yeah. And of course, last time, you're going to be here next year doing this whole thing all over again. Not going to mention it again.
Unless we get more revenue, I'll mention that again. So, that could be too.
That's a good idea. So this sheet here, you have two water, just for sake of clarity. So
We broke that in half to just show you what the cost would be for a year. Water rate increase would be $8.13. Sewer would be $37.10.
Broke it down to the day.
Breaking out to the day, it comes to 12 cents a day, water and sewer per unit.
So the one for $39 is
The weight, just in case you guys want to
waste.
increase waste by 50%, to take down the appropriated fund balance a little bit, so we can move that a little bit. I didn't figure out what that was going to be, but I thought I'd throw it in there, try to help you.
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you.
Mr. Williams.
I think it's imperative to just identify that this is my second time going through the budget cycle, and I'm trying to shorten my learning curve. But it becomes very apparent that there are some individuals that are willing to make concessions, and there are other individuals that are standing in their positions of 100% of the mayor's proposed budget. And I think that places these conversations at a lose-lose element, because we're all sitting here trying to advocate for our positions, and I truly understand that we're all here to do the good work of the city, but that is not negotiating. And I am sitting here trying to, in my position, thread that needle, and I do not want to pit it at an us versus them, because that is not what we're doing. We're doing the work for the city of, the residents of the city of Schenectady. But it is clear when we hear, I want this and I want it all, and that unfortunately is not what I'm going to support. I do understand, and I hear your logic, Mr. Ferrari, and I appreciate, because you've been broken record, but for various reasons.
I've been working for the city for 40 years. I lived there all my life. I'm looking for the good of the city.
No, I respect that. I would love to hear from Ms. Patrick and Ms. DeToro. Are you remaining in, I want all of it, or how do you respond to this 50%?
Go ahead, please.
Well, I think that in my case, I'd have to say that I trust the expertise of the staff. And I think that, first of all, last year, we already didn't do that. So I think that has put us in a situation this year. Yes, I'm going to pretty much remain solid about the police and the fire overtime. I think it's a mistake to be cutting services, especially when it comes to public safety. I think, when you think about the number of calls that our teams are going out on. It actually increased, by the way, this weekend from last weekend, which was already ridiculous, but, I found out the numbers today of this weekend, it was up even higher. So I mean, if you cut the police and fire overtime, we're just gonna have to come back, I don't know how many months in, to do an amendment, because again, the fire, we already know it's contractual, so we're gonna have to come up with the money anyway. So in that sense, that's my position.
Yeah, I just wanna really mention about the police budget, because everybody keeps talking about cutting. And I wanna just make sure that we understand this year's budget is more than last year's budget. It's the largest budget of the police in the history of the city of Schenectady. So it's not that we're cutting their budget. We're not giving everything that they're asked for. And that's two different things. So I just wanna make sure that language is clear, because cutting sounds like we went in, we took away something that they already had, and that's not what happened. What happened was they asked for this amount of increase, and we reduced the amount of increase that was asked for, not their budget.
I will clarify what I said, that I just meant that we're decreasing what they need.
That's what they asked for. So I just want to be clear, because I've heard that conversation that we're cutting their budget, and that's really not what has happened here.
Well,
So
we're
just-
decreasing from what, we're cutting from what they've asked us for.
So that's a reduction of their ask, which is what part of budgeting is, but it's not cutting their budget. So that's a different story.
Yeah, but I guess I would have to suggest that I think the chief of police and the fire chief have given us realistic numbers in their budget estimate based on what they've spent in the past.
So last year we also reduced the budget, so just putting that out there, but I just want to be clear, we're not reducing what they already are getting. I just want to make sure that everybody understands that.
And again, I think it's important to identify there are no reductions in services. From my position, what I'm challenging them to is there are vacant positions that can be utilized to subsidize the not getting their full ask. And as you heard from Chief Marino, he said it verbatim, there is wiggle room. Or he said that there's a room to ebb and flow. And my challenge is, why are we going to overgive when we can utilize that money to reduce some of the asks to the community? And again, if they do need more, then we can come back and amend the budget. But at this present time, I feel those same angst that you have for attributing a tax of this magnitude to the community. And although I understand, Mr. Ferrari, that comparatively speaking, the waste increase at 50% is $39, the water rate increase is $8, the sewer rate increase would be $37. These are not the only expenses that households are feeling. Gas is also going up, food is also going up, rent's also going up, and I think it's important to recognize the cumulative effect of all of these increases. And that is what I'm trying to make sure I position myself where I can go to these doors, and if anyone asks me, present a fair argument of where I stand.
Except for one thing, none of this does anything to decrease the tax rate. The water and sewage funds are separate from the general revenue area. So cutting those has nothing to do with water and sewage. Done nothing here to reduce taxes, done nothing here to reduce the deficit. All it was done was shuffle money around and honestly increase positions in certain areas and give raises. So there was no real impact at all to the tax rate. So other than the water and sewage, which is separate from these. So they're two separate entities altogether. So what you said is nice. It would be great if that's how it worked, but it doesn't.
But it does work to the degree that the taxpayers will have to pay this additional money. It does work to that degree. So the mayor himself said we talked about his fees when in fact when we tried to spend the
Yes,
ARPA
but
money
he
on
was
it.
talking about the, as was Ms. Patrick, the overtime budget and the impact.
Right.
They're two separate entities altogether.
But in fact, taxpayers will have to pay more. Do you agree or disagree if we increase the water and sewer funds? Do they, no? Mr. Troy?
We just kind
funny, I was just ready to comment on the sewer fees and the water fees here, not on everything else
Oh.
right now. But I thought that's what we were addressing at this
Yeah.
moment. So, as a homeowner, business owner with multiple properties here in the city, and yes, the cost of everything going up. I myself personally wouldn't mind budgeting this year for the total amount that's proposed in the mayor's budget. And then moving forward, knowing next year I may have to budget again for some additional amounts because of all the rising costs. So I am okay with what was proposed in the mayor's budget.
Mr. Williams, I appreciate you making a suggestion to do 50% for water and 50% for sewer. So it is no secret that I have made it very clear that I don't favor increasing taxes or passing on the cost to taxpayers. I have made it very clear that we need to look at the budget and to make cuts across board so that we can able to reduce the burden on taxpayers. We cannot continue to spend and pass the costs on to taxpayers. We as a council, we need to be held accountable and we need to report to our taxpayer. That's why they put us here. And we need to make concession. If I'm willing to move forward this, we need to address the open fills that we have in 2023 that we carry in 2024. And we also need to look at the new fills that we have for 2024 budget. We cannot continue to pass the burden on taxpayers, and we seem to don't have an issue increasing our spending. Go ahead,
So,
please.
Mr. Rivera, I just wanted to clear you, so if we do the increase, and right now we're talking about water and sewer, so I'm gonna stay there. Are you saying that we need to revisit the positions that we talked about before and reduce more positions, is that what you're saying?
Yes, we should revisit, look at the fills that we have in 2023 that we're now filling, and look at the new hires that we're carrying, where we have proposed in the 2024. Do we really need all this position? Where is the cost saving? And by doing that, we can able to, relook at the police and fire overtime. But at this point in time, I am not gonna, with all due respect, Mr. Williams, I'm not supporting this.
So it seems like we're in an impasse. So are you suggesting that we just leave it as is? And Mr. Mudavera, Mr. Williams, Mr. Palomini, Finance Committee? We need to know what your positioning is, and, because it would be ideal if we could pass a budget, I don't know, Ms. Patrick.
We have
But-
to. It is our biggest responsibility, I would say, as a city council.
Why we're trying to get there, and I appreciate what you always say about, that we're counting on our experts, but it is part of our responsibility to review those things and see where we can make reasonable reductions in order to pass the budget, and not to pass as much onto our taxpayers as necessary. And I think it's also a responsibility, and we should probably do more of it next year when we're negotiating various agreements, that we do more to bring in revenue. So that's also a part of our, as we look at the budget. Unfortunately, we only do this yearly, and so maybe we'll just do this quarterly and just kind of see where we are and take the temperature during the year to see where we're gonna end up at the end of the year. So, we're here right now, Mr. Moodavaran is not supporting an increase at all. So, and Mr. Palomini hasn't said. So, Mr. Williams. So, if I can just ask another thing. So we're discussing this particular increase, but I've heard conversations about the other things, so let me just ask this question of all council members, if you're willing to answer. If we get to the point where we said, like, we can increase the water and sewer by 50%, does that put other council members in the position where they're willing to vote for the budget? So I think I need to ask that question. Mr. Palomini?
No, you're creating structural deficits in here that puts the city on a path to bankruptcy. And, I can't go for that.
Okay.
I'm not at this point.
Okay. Mr. Moodavaran?
No, I've made my point very clear. I mean, if what Mr. Williams suggested is concession on Mr. Williams' side, but we also need to make concession on the other side, where we can make some other additional reduction. And we look at the police and fire over time to reach, instead of 350, to look at that if we can reduce that reduction. At this point in time, no.
Ms. Patrick?
Well, we need 2 votes to get out of committee.
Not getting out of committee. So.
So, if I can ask a question,
please.
so Mr. Palomini, you wouldn't vote on the budget with the 100% fee increases proposed by the mayor?
Don't know yet, because we wouldn't have a budget at that point.
What do you mean that we increase?
I'll look at that when I see the entire budget.
Oh, when you see the entire budget, okay, just want to be clear on what you meant by we wouldn't have a budget. So, I would be willing to go with the 50% in the sewer and water, but it looks like this is not going to get out of committee. So, Mr. Chair of Finance, we have to, how would you like to proceed?
Since there is an impasse, I'm suggesting that we recess. Do we have a special meeting tomorrow?
Yes, we do, but we, okay, but we don't need to.
What will change between today and tomorrow?
What will change?
What would change to bring us back tomorrow, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Well, I have made a suggestion in terms of, let's revisit the 2023 fills that we're not pulling, and let's look at the 2024 that we're adding into the budget.
Could we do that now?
Can we do that now? I don't know, nobody answered it. Nobody made any suggestion. Where is the other side? I mean, the concession was made by Mr. Williams.
What are you suggesting as concessions?
That's what I suggested.
I'll make a suggestion. You cut the salary increase of the council and also cut the health insurance benefit for the council members. That's, I believe, the only part-time positions in the city that actually get health insurance. And I think that would be $85,000-ish.
How much of a difference would that make towards what we're looking at?
To
here?
start, you want a concession?
Okay.
So there you go.
So with that, you'd vote to support this out of committee?
That's just the beginning. I mean, if we're talking $85,000 cut, and you wanna use that and put it in a line towards, deficit reduction, I'll be happy with that.
We need many more 84,000.
Well, Mr. Williams asked me what I was, so I would be okay with that.
That was one thing. Would there be anything else?
I think we could probably cut a position or so in the clerk's office.
Then I'd say if we're gonna revisit the positions, then I would say be returning to Mr. Motivarian's suggestion of revisiting all of them, which I'm truly not trying to do.
Well, you asked me, I'm just offering suggestions.
And I'd say if 2 council members on the committee would like to revisit the positions, then revisit the positions.
So let's, if that's going to happen, and I'm not sure it's gonna happen tonight or not, let's talk about what is the gap that we need to fill. You don't know, you have no idea. Because we really need to know. I thought we were as well, but we're not.
Well, if you're willing to move forward with the increases in the water and the sewage and cutting the salary increase in the health insurance, I would be supportive of that. Because that was what you were getting to, so I will support that.
Can you repeat that again?
Getting rid of the council salary increases as well as cutting the health insurance benefits for council members.
What's that?
I would have a hard time cutting the health insurance for city council members. I'd be happy to cut the salary increase for council members.
So I think we're still at like, there's a major gap. If we're, you know, if we even that's just not enough money. So we really need to, if we're seriously talking about making some adjustments here, we need to seriously look at places that's going to really make a difference and we can get to a place where we can get a budget passed. So, Mr. Motivaren, you know, you are the chair of finance, so I'm leaving this in your hands, but, you know, we all have to, I think, provide input and where we're willing to make movement. And sometimes everybody's not gonna get everything that they want, and I'm certainly not necessarily in favor of just passing the budget that the mayor put forward. I don't think that's ever happened since I've been on the council where the budget's just been moved forward. We've made decreases, we've made reductions before, and we're still standing. So I think we have to seriously look and see where people are willing to look at making either reductions or agreeing that they will, that other cuts have been made, and so therefore, people who are standing firm, just look at there have been concessions made, and are just not standing with 100% with the budget that the mayor's put forward. Respect that that's the mayor's responsibility, but also respect that it's our responsibility to review it. So.
I'm happy to go back over the positions. I mean, the thing that I really don't want to see happen is the police and fire overtime.
Well, based on what.
The decreases that that other folks on the council are suggesting, those are the two things that I'm very concerned about.
But that's part of my
Three things,
concession.
I'm sorry.
And that is part of my concession in terms of, let's
I don't
revisit
think
the 2023 highways and 2024 new fill.
Oh,
And whatever savings we get there, we can push it back towards the police and fire.
I didn't hear you say that.
I made that very clear here. Because at this point in time, I'm not gonna do that. There's no reason for us to roll these positions over or fund them. We're having a hard time filling them and then adding more into 2024.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you
Yes.
say that.
And then we can look at the savings from that and then push it back towards the fire department and the police. You know,
So, I just.
some of us, I mean, Mr. Williams are making concession, we're making concession, we all need to come together as one. It's hard. We cannot just dig our heels in the sand and say, well, the budget is okay.
I'm
The
happy to
mayor's
review those
proposal-
positions.
The mayor has a right to present his budget, and he has a right to say he doesn't want any cut. If you were the mayor or I'm the mayor, I would do the same thing. My budget is good, I'm not looking for you cut. It is our responsibility to the taxpayer to look out for their best interests. And that is our job here. As the 7 of us here, we need to do that. And if we sit here and we can't look out for them, what is the purpose of us being here? I'm willing for us to revisit the updated sheet for the 2023 vacancies, and to also look at the 2024 new fills that are being proposed. We can go through it today, we can go through it tomorrow, I have no issue with that. Go ahead, please.
No, this is actually the most talking we've done, so I'd say stay. Definitely, I appreciate the comments from both parts. I just want to get some clarity. Is that in addition to the proposed water and sewer increases, or are you talking about a replacement of those?
Well, we can address it side by side and look at it.
Okay.
I'll narrow it.
So at this point in time, you're not necessarily against, only 50%, or so you just wanna look at everything in its
Yes.
entirety?
Yes. Both the water, the 50% that Mr. Williams suggested, and let's look at some session on the vacancies and new fills. And then we'll look at it side by side and see where we are.
Okay.
And if I can support that 50%, or maybe I suggest a little more down.
I'm happy to keep going this evening. And look at that.
So, everyone has all the, if you wanna keep
There
going,
was an
Mr.
updated-
Rivera? I beg your pardon?
There was an updated sheet on the fill, the vacancies,
Yeah.
2024,
Please,
yeah.
I think it's these three pieces here, Mr. Rivera,
Oh, that one.
and this one.
Does everybody have it?
These three,
So, Ms. Mike was gonna make copies for anyone that doesn't have them. She'll be right back.
Yeah.
Do we have this updated because we have removed a few?
I think we just removed the IPS 3 for IT, I think.
And the motor equipment operator was also removed? Wasn't the motor equipment?
Oh, yes.
Was that removed?
Motor equipment operator mechanic 1 is also
Yeah.
removed. I think, right?
MEO, according to here, there was one MEO that was removed, according to what I read.
Two was removed?
I
That's
think
okay.
two were removed, I think you're right. That motor
MEOs?
motor equipment operator
Yeah,
mechanic
street,
1.
851.
That's what the mayor, the suggestion
Oh,
from the
but that,
mayor. And then there's
but
another we had.
that means we'd have to put back in the $88,000 position, as I recall, right?
No,
That,
No.
wasn't that one that's
Yes.
that one is taking the place of two, right?
So
I mean, that guy was-
7110, yes.
so we never heard from Mr. Willifon where that gentleman was with.
Did we ever revise the sheet? With the ones that
That
we
we're all
suggested?
right, so I just threw them all out, that we're all done. And now we're-
Is there any way we can look at this updated sheet
Oh, yeah.
here and revise these two?
Yeah, the updated sheet is,
These two sheets, because
It's
they
on
divide
here.
out of this here.
the updated sheet we sent you
Yeah.
today.
I'm just gonna make a good dates on this. Alright.
Anyone else need a copy? Do you need a copy?
Okay.
Sam said she, Mr. Ferrari said he would take one.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Yeah, just need one of those. Wow. Was it from the mayor? Did you get a copy?
If you have an extra one.
Yes.
Except the yellow.
Highlighted yellow.
So, Mr. Rivera, did you
Go
want?
ahead, please.
Right, so just to get the discussion started, sheet with the highlighted yellow, so the ones with the highlighted yellow that the mayor has already taken out, and then in addition to that, there was the IPS 3 that was removed during our last discussion. So after that, then the only thing that's left are the ones that they didn't mention, it's just a few positions, quite frankly. So. And the give violence coordinators is a grant funded, so we're not even discussing it. The position in Mayfield.
So the other positions come to over $1 million.
Mr. Bukamak, do you want to speak to this one, the last one? Oh.
Sure, I think we discussed it already. The last two rows, the land inspector, risk assessor, we were under the impression that that person was originally going to, for next year, going to train, codes department in, land inspection, but that is not the case, so we're putting the position back to, union position, at 58,000.
We already did that.
Right.
It's already done. Should be done.
I guess just to get the ball rolling, there was a lot of discussion around the motor equipment operator, mechanic one position that, if I can remember correctly, was the individual working predominantly in the night shift. Based on Mr. Maverian's position of any reductions in staffing being returned to the police overtime budget, would you support removing that position and realigning those funds?
Could you tell me which one you're talking about? I'm sorry, is it
If you
A,
can mention the whatever
80.
that extension is.
8161?
85132.
Motor equipment, out mechanic one.
What would be the cost to the, in other words, that's the one that, would save us money on garages, I think, but is not, that's the overnight
It would
one?
work
Two
at
to,
overnight, yeah,
two
more
to
water.
11 or something, 2
We'll
to
do,
10?
we'll
2 to
do
10.
tires and oil changes, I believe.
Go ahead, please.
Just, yeah, looking at these outside garage expenses of $612,421,000. So I know that the position wouldn't be able to fix everything on this list, but it would, I think, definitely save us some money in outside repairs.
So are you
I don't know.
suggesting that we reduce the fees of service for garage repairs?
No, at the position there, I'd be in favor of keeping that position.
Right, but if you're talking about reducing that 612,000, then we would have to reduce it somewhere in the budget if you're keeping it. Because that's what you said, that would replace us spending some of that money.
Right, just some of the fleet manager position.
That's already out.
Yeah,
Oh, is that something you're talking about?
we're talking about mechanic one.
Oh, all right, I'm sorry.
5132, I think.
Okay,
Oh, the other one, yeah.
5132. I thought we were on the fleet manager, sorry.
Yeah, the fleet manager was already removed.
Let me see that now.
Maureen, is that garage thing broken down by, you know, what kinds of repairs it is?
No, just two.
So,
You can kind of guess.
so on that line, so the motor vehicle repair is, in the 2023 budget was $915,000. And so in the 24, there it is. So because you're saying that should reduce that line in order to keep the mechanic position is what I understood you to say? No, Mr. Toro, she said we should reduce that somewhere to 612.
No, I thought we were still talking about the position of the fleet manager,
Okay,
which was already removed from the budget, I'm sorry.
okay.
No,
Which removed from the,
the motor equipment guy is the one that would work over
oh, all right, then,
after hours.
right.
So some of these costs would be reduced by that individual.
Right, okay, so then I was talking about the overnight gentleman who was getting the, okay.
Right. So the question is, are we then reducing some of the fees for services on that line? Since our expectation is that we have this gentleman now working, so we would not need those outside garages. So are you suggesting that we remove some of the fees for services on 5132?
Well, I think we would be able to remove some of them, yes. I don't know what, but again, it's just who we paid, not what we paid for.
And that will leave the question, how much of the savings, by hiring this position, how much of the savings are we gonna get
That's what I was
to
trying to
attract
say.
that line, and then we can able to address that. I have a direct question with all respect. Are you, in terms of police and fire, are you zero in on zero reduction? Because the goal is, if we were to say, okay, if you are zeroing and you would vote for the support the budget, 350 to 700,000. If we were to look at savings for $700,000 and we push those lines back out, would you support it? Because we need an end game here, because we don't want to go fishing and say, well, we're looking at the reduction.
You're right,
We can
it
achieve
would be
700,000.
777,000 is what we need to
Yes.
find.
So that's what we need to look at here.
Yes.
And that will be the end goal. If that's the case, I will support this budget with the 50% for the fee that's suggested by.
You're saying you'd put back in the police and fire
Look at the
overtime?
vacancy, if we can claw back some of the vacancies and the new hire, put it back into police. Yes. Would you support that?
The police and fire are my priority.
Yes.
So, yes, I
If
guess
we were to
what I'm
achieve
saying
that,
is if we can
the
get $770,000
Yes.
back, I don't know how we're gonna do that, but
Well, that's what we need to look at. That's why I'm asking the general question. Because there need to be an outcome, because we don't want to go fishing and start reducing position, and at the end of the game.
how do other people feel?
No, I asked you because you mentioned it, your position.
Well, that is my priority, would be
Okay.
that $770,000, but.
Because it makes no sense us go start making reduction again on vacancies and you filled, and then your
But it-
position is still the same.
How do you guys feel about that? What's
The
your
thing
priority?
Mr. Mover's never answered the question is what is the end goal with what he's trying to accomplish with the budget?
Then with the budget? But I stated very clear, I have an objection on terms of agreeing with Mr. Williams' 50% increase in water and sewer. But if we can go on the other side now, look at the fills and we can bring back that, then we can address the police and fire. And then we pretty much maybe have a budget.
And you're suggesting the only place we see that is looking at the fills? Yes?
Or any other suggested reduction? I mean, I'm open to any other reduction.
Okay.
But those are the ones I just can focus it on right now. But if any other member has any suggestion in terms of cost reduction, we can entertain it.
Actually, this sheet probably would need to get updated, because I believe some of these positions might have been filled since we first saw this sheet. Do you think?
It's possible.
Yeah, that's why I asked for an update and she just, didn't go anywhere. Because we're looking at, because we did make some reduction here. And we did make some reduction on the other one also.
But they show up on the sheet that they just
Yes.
gave us today.
But then it doesn't give us a dollar amount.
Oh, dollar?
A dollar amount. So if we were to look at it, we're gonna have to do one calculation based on each of the lines. Yeah.
Right, but to Mr. Mover's point, it sounds like we're making headway, so if we had that updated listing of unfills, and if our current trajectory is finding the 770,000, that then comes back to whether
That
the
could be
councilors would.
listed one,
But
on
hold
the
on,
December budget, sorry.
Well,
Sorry, sorry,
Please, sir.
talking out loud, sorry.
And then considering the 50% increase to, what was it,
Water and sewer.
water and sewer, that sounds like that's information that we need to get to a budget that's voted through. Did I accurately capture that?
Yes, you do.
So we need the updated fills.
Yes. So if we can get this updated sheet, this will help all of us. Because we're gonna have to go through each and every single one, because some was removed on the sheet at the back, or we just will have to go through this one here, it will be more difficult, because we don't have a dollar number at the side.
But we already have these, so.
That's what I was just asking. So I believe when we talked about them, some of them were positions that people were being interviewed for. Right? I think during the course of our discussions.
Mr. Motivator, did you?
Go ahead.
This is, so, Mr. Gukamak said that some of these positions may have been filled since we started this process, and HR would have to run the report. Is that correct?
I mean, other than these, looking at these unfilled position and the new proposed position, are there anything else that, in mind that we should just maybe, for the sake of discussion, discuss it, or we don't have anything else in mind?
I don't know.
Because at the end goal, we need, what, 777?
What do we need?
777.
I'm going with your number.
777.
And I'm making a concession, because I made it very clear that I do not want to increase on the back of tax. At the table here, sometimes we have to make concessions. All of us should consider that seriously.
Except for one thing, this does absolutely nothing to address the deficit.
So what are you suggesting? Let's get something to address the deficit.
Well, you would have to put the fees in, and I would suggest with some of the cutting of the positions. I have no issue with some of those.
Yeah, let's look overall, let's look at it, I mean.
All right,
We
go
could
from
just
the
look at
beginning.
them, we
Your
could look at
clerical
each
aid, I
one.
have no issue taking out. Program director, both of those weren't in the budget to begin with. The deputy registrar and city clerk, I have no issue taking out. Matter of fact, I
The
would
city
even,
clerk?
that's what it says here.
Deputy registrar, it says.
Deputy registrar in the city clerk's office.
Oh, okay. I thought you said just plain city clerk.
And
But that's good.
But actually-
The first two already removed.
And the third one, someone's being moved into that
no, they
position.
were put back in.
I thought they were in the budget.
No, they weren't in the budget, they were put back in.
Yeah.
No, I don't think we ever agreed to put those back in.
That was my understanding.
No.
No, we never.
No, the first two, no. We have pretty hard from, Mr. Gardner, HR, there were no movements on that.
Oh,
We don't stay those
so
positions.
those are out.
So that, those stays.
I do have a question though.
So those are the only two that.
No, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, please.
So, but my understanding though, and this question is for the mayor, is that did someone actually interview for one of these positions?
I'm sorry, you said.
For the, okay, so we're talking about, either the clerical aide or the program coordinator in the affirmative action office. My understanding that somebody actually interviewed for one of those positions. And so I guess we need to really have a discussion of whether we need to leave one of those positions in the budget as we're having this discussion.
Right, if it's not there, I'm not hiring, but I haven't made a decision on hiring, because we have interviewed people.
So you say if it's not there, you're not hiring.
Well, if the position, if you abolish the position, I'm not gonna hire somebody.
So which position did you interview for?
We actually had candidates for both those positions, been looked at.
Okay.
But you're not funding them into 2024,
No.
your proposed budget.
Right, those are out.
So if you are interviewing for them in 2023 and you're not
We
funding them.
had interviewed, but they're not in the budget, we haven't hired them.
Okay. Go ahead, please.
So they interviewed one person, they accepted John and never showed up.
Yeah, my understanding was a recent interview.
I did not hear about a recent interview.
Yes.
Okay, there was a recent interview, since we started the budget process. So,
So they're already out anyway.
well, then we probably should interview people and
Yeah,
then
that's
they
what
have a
I'm
job.
saying. If the proposal is to not fund it in the proposed budget, then why are we interviewing? Because
Sometimes we interview for other departments that are open too, and use the person.
It was specifically for that.
I have no idea. But I'm just saying, for other jobs, what we do is we interview, and then we try to place them in a department that has an opening.
So those two are gone.
yeah, the
Next
first two,
First
since
two are
it's
off
not
the
in the
table.
budget,
Right.
and the mayor didn't propose to fund it 2024, we suggest that we keep it the same way.
Look, it's out
Oh,
here, yeah.
okay.
Yes. And the deputy registrar, it says that someone's going to be moving into that position, so I don't say we abolish it. That person currently works for the city.
Ms. Michael, can you update us on that? What is the position in terms of, it says, will be moved to this position? Timeline, please.
So the IPS 3 position, should be taking a promotion into the deputy registrar position.
So is the IPS 3 position then thus open?
That will be. That will be
And that's in
open.
your office?
Yeah.
How many IPS you have overall in this department? I mean, how many?
One IPS 3, 2 clerical aides.
And you also have a deputy.
Deputy city clerk, yes.
Since this person is being moved to deputy registrar, is there, if we were to say I'm just using this, not fund the IPS, what impact would that have on your office?
Just processing times. Processing times, filing, just everything. We've gotten more work than we've ever had before. We've had now zoning applications put in. We now have the ethics meetings, their determinations, all their decisions. There's just added workload to our office.
In addition to serving the public, so let's just be clear about that.
And additionally, we're gonna be updating our dog licensing program so that it's online. Currently, we're entering everything twice, one into the old system and now into the new system for testing. So it's just slowing everything down.
And a clerical aide, part-time position, code enforcement. So we are on and off with that.
Heard somebody this morning for that.
You did.
Okay.
So there were
Clerical
two,
part-time.
and we said we were, the suggestion.
No, it's the line before that.
Just the one? So you've hired someone today? Perfect.
So that's not vacant.
We did remove one of the code enforcement officer from our prior discussion.
Right.
So there's still 2 vacant though, right?
Just one.
Just
just
one,
one.
because we did
The other
remove
one's
one
supervisor.
position. The supervisor is still vacant. The community development supervisor,
Looks like it's still vacant.
Hmm?
the community development supervisor.
That's still vacant, again, that's 100% funded.
CDBG.
Oh, that's
CDBG,
right.
Yeah.
The next one is the planner. This position is on and off, filled and vacant.
This is the city planner's office. So. I don't necessarily think that we should remove that one. Planning is a huge part of what we do. So I think we should really consider leaving that there if at all possible.
Any other question on that? The next one is assistant to the city engineer. I think we did remove that.
I think so too.
Yes.
That's already out.
Right. Good. Just want to remind you, keep Mr. Whitman, keep saying that we don't know any bills that have been through HR.
Yeah, well, we're just going through and
Okay.
discussion's sake, so that
Okay.
we're making notes, so I'm sure the finance team is making notes also.
All right.
Civil engineer, I think we moved that back, because we were proposing to move that into fee for service, but we're keeping that. IPS 3, engineering department.
I think they interviewed somebody today. Chris Wallen telling me.
All right.
They really need somebody over there.
I agree.
The junior civil engineer, I think we put that back.
It's removed? It's removed.
It's removed?
Okay, that's one of the next.
Oh, yeah, that was already moved before we got the budget that wasn't there, so that really should not even be on the sheet, because it was not even there
That was removed.
when we got the budget.
And the next one is a senior engineering technician. Is that, this was,
I think that was removed as well. I think that was removed as well.
I don't see it in there.
that's removed?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is a report from
I don't have it.
2023 vacancies that we've done. 2023 budget.
Okay, so these,
We can verify that. I mean, after we go
yes,
through this.
so we're making
we'll-
notes on that, and
then
we'll
we
have
can look
finance
into this
team,
to
yeah,
see if
verify that, finance team update the sheet in terms of who, got a hire since we last discussed this. HR assistant, I think that was removed from the
Yeah,
2024 budget.
Yep,
The payroll audit clerk,
we're waiting for the test results.
CS, that's the civil service test result.
Because we had talked about taking that, but somebody took the test.
Yeah.
Assistant to the corporation council, we did remove one position.
Correct.
The IP innovation and performance specialist, that is vacant, on and off.
And
That, go ahead, please.
so just, I know that the mayor, that there, I saw a job announcement for it, so are you trying to fill that position currently?
Yeah,
So can I ask, not having that, how does it impact your office?
and go back, had trouble filling it, had people in it. When you look at the reports that were done before, you know, it's a specific expertise in some of the software. It was improving the overall efficiency of the city. It's how do you get departments to work together, and how do you get those data points so we can see what the trends are? And I would ask you to leave that in.
Okay. Thank you.
Director of solid waste.
I think we removed that already, right?
No, there's no comment on that.
A160.
You said I was removed?
Pretty sure.
Okay,
No.
we'll make note and verify this first.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a look at it right now, Director of Solid Waste.
Oh, yeah, it was removed.
That was the one that
Page
guys were
41.
gonna combine the jobs, they got rid of that. They combined the
That's
job.
right.
Oh, gotcha. And what was it, and so street managers is.
Street manager,
Oh. That one's gone already.
Okay. The MEOM streets, we did remove one of them,
correct.
and there are 3 vacancies. Discussion on that. 2 is funded by ARPA and the 1 from general fund.
Mhm. So, my point on that is that the ones that are funded by ARPA, eventually, we're not gonna have ARPA funds, so, I know we talked about one, and I don't know if anybody heard from anyone regarding that. So, I know streets is like probably a place where we need every position, so the streets is like with our snow, with our trash removal, so, I'm suggesting we think that through, if we can get to the number we need to get to.
Are you suggesting put back the 1 position?
I'm suggesting that we keep, 3.
Because we already removed 1.
I understand that. So, and I would like to know the total staffing in that department too.
Can
I
you,
know they can't say that right now, but
no, can you ask the question?
yes, so we could
And
just.
they can get that answer to you tomorrow.
Yeah. And then, how many, thank you.
Moving on, the next one is a seasonal labor loader.
Those are the best deals we have.
Yeah, it looks like we filled it in.
The best deals we have. Because they don't get, because what?
Because, they're able to come in, they get to work, they have abilities to get their permit for CDLs if they want. We teach them, and, if they're really good, we keep them on, if they're not good, we lay them off.
Okay.
Okay. Property management and carpenter,
He's already out.
he's out, that's out already?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, let's move on to water fund, IPS 3. That is filled and vacant.
Just want to remind you, the water source fund, you can't use that money for the police.
I understand.
Okay.
And that-
So changing,
That's one position.
changing these would have no
We're changing.
impact on the.
That only helps
Right.
the water source.
It would just help the water and sewer individually,
Yep.
yes. And we have the water maintenance worker. I think, did we not cut the, is that by 2?
Yes.
It's not on here.
That's general fund only.
Oh, that's right.
We did cut by 2. Some of it.
I thought you put it back
I
in.
don't have that written down.
You put it back in though, right? 'Cause John, Palomino had him put it back in, and you voted to put it back in. Water and sewer.
I think that was
Nothing
something
was ever
that,
taken.
yeah.
Water and sewer, we haven't taken anybody out.
That was a compromise.
Yeah. Water and sewer was left.
As remain?
To keep 4 or to
Keep
put
4.
back 2?
4, it was a compromise.
Yes,
I remember that.
Also, we didn't, okay.
we've got 2 to bring. Got 2, everybody in there.
Well, for all, we're looking at everything here at this point in time. The next one is a senior operator, water pumping. That's one position. And the next one is the water treatment plant. Instrumental specialist.
Yeah, that was the one where water and sewer, they're 50/50.
Yeah,
Let me pull my glass down there. That is a half a position.
yeah, the other half is in.
The other half is a, okay. Going so the first position, the note here is this position is filled.
Yep.
And then the wastewater treatment plant mechanic, there are 2 positions there. And the wastewater treatment plant operator, that is filled. The other one, the trainee, is
We
removed.
took that out?
Yeah,
Or
that is,
somebody took it out?
no, that was removed from the 2024
Yeah,
proposed budget. And we did discuss the other one, they have from above,
Mhm.
yeah.
Mhm.
And then we have the sewer maintenance worker. We have 2 vacancies.
It says, looks like they're filled. Oh, I don't know.
You
It
have,
says vacant then filled again, so it's filled right now in 2023. They're filled in 2023.
we can then move on to this sheet, if we're going to do this one here. And just go through and note what we initially removed and discussion on the new ones. That's the 2024 new positions. Initially, we had removed the IPS3 for IT and the motor equipment mechanic, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
And we have kept all the others, the CD assistant and the lab inspector, those are all funded through grants. So we can keep those out.
So I don't think there's, I'm not really sure what's left.
Not much.
It doesn't look like there's,
Well, we have the IPS3 for utilities admin, the IT specialist with the other one, give a type file, that's a grant also.
Yes.
Please, send me out, let's make a little bit of notes.
Yeah. I just want to comment though on the IPS3s in the IT department. We've already had discussions that are, the head of the department who does a lot of IT, well, that does the signal, is going to be leaving. And so a lot of the work that he's currently doing, we're still gonna need people in place, and some of those duties are going to be dispersed. So, I think I would caution against moving too much out of the IT area.
But we did remove, I mean.
you mean the utilities in
One.
The utilities one?
Okay.
You mean the utilities one, I think, right?
I don't think we should do that. But he also said IT specialist, and again, some of those duties, as I understood, the signal superintendent to say that some of the duties that he's currently doing will be dispersed among some of these positions. So.
The next one, no. Is MEOM. We have two there. That's his department.
Oh, okay.
That's his
All right.
department. Office.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's like office.
So the MEOM is in parks?
Yes. So we don't know at this point in time what position has been filled from our last discussion to now. Are there any other suggested changes other than these what we're discussing here?
I don't have any other suggestions, I mean, so we have to know a report from HR, like what has been filled in the meantime, and also what we just discussed, what that dollar amount equates to.
I know Ms. Patrick said that she would support the budget if we made those concessions in favor of getting up the full ask for both the police and fire. Mr. Toro, how would you weigh in on that?
I'd like to see the numbers first. I wanna know, I'm just going over those lines, I can't see much that we're going to cut 777,000 in bills, so I really wanna see how we're gonna get that, right?
So that will give us a salary and plus the benefits, different benefits, so there will be a higher number side by side. So Mr. Farrer, can we have an updated sheet with regards to these there? Completely remove what we had initially removed and look at the one remaining.
And as you can see, there's hardly anything remaining. I mean, really,
I'm not laughing because it's funny, but,
this is fun.
no, it's not.
I have no problem, I'll get it to you as soon as I can tomorrow.
Is it possible for you to email this to us rather than us showing on the file?
I would rather do that, tell you the truth.
Email it to us,
Sure.
so that we have, all of us will have a time to review it prior to us meeting here at 5:30.
Okay, we'll do it first thing in the morning,
Yes,
and
all
we'll
right.
get it out, try to get it out as soon as possible. There's no way to think about, instead of a $1.50 increase in the waste to 75 cents, cut that in half from 1.7 to 800 some thousand, you get the overtime for Mrs. Patrick, and then you can reduce fund balance by the other 100,000 for Mr. Palmini. So we're reducing, the two big things that we're looking at.
Oh, so you want us to revisit the waste, is that what you're saying?
I'm just throwing it out there.
But I think against Mr. Mudavar's point, that again is one individual making concessions,
Yeah.
and another individual saying, I want the full ask.
Not gonna mention it again.
No,
That was water and sewer.
that is your duty.
That was water and sewer, this is general. I'm just trying to help you guys along, that's all.
No, I appreciate that, it's your
Because
duty.
I'm looking at these numbers for these jobs, it's just, they're not adding up.
There's not gonna be enough, is that what you're saying?
Doesn't seem to me, I mean, Derek, what do you think?
We'll see tomorrow morning.
Unless any other member has any other suggested changes other than the vacancies and the new proposed hire. I mean, we can go over now, so we have it on the table, so Mr. Ferrari can look at it.
First thing tomorrow morning.
First thing
we can get
tomorrow
right to
morning.
it.
I mean,
Well, there's my suggested cuts, as well as I think we should cut the expenditures for the outside attorneys. And I also think,
can we just go to that, please? Your suggested changes, that you talk about 84K, we just put through our estimated, and you talk about outside attorney.
pretty close, yeah. Outside attorneys, the extra money for the CPRB, I would reduce.
Extra money, that's the,
So
the
send
training.
2 people instead of 1 person. I'm fine with 1 person, but
how much was that? That was,
It's like $5,000.
5,000?
It's $3,000 a person about.
hey, you wanna get to the
No,
money?
I just want to make those jump,
You
Joe.
raised
But-
from
but-
5 to 50.
So that way we.
But got rid of the outside counsel. So
We
just
already
let's
got
be
rid of
clear.
that. I think, right?
Excuse me?
Reduce
We already
the
got
part.
rid of the, no, for CPRB, I think we got rid of the whole thing.
Yeah, we did. That was my concession.
Yeah, that was on the CPRE that was removed, the outside counsel.
Mm-hmm.
That's correct. That's
The
right.
only one that's available is under the city council.
Correct.
And
Under-
the law department, which I don't suggest we touch at all.
They need that, a lot of
I
practice.
wasn't thinking about that one.
Which one you talking? We're talking about the 25K that we put in last year, and we wrote
Correct.
15,000
Correct.
into this year under the city council.
We-
We removed the CPRE completely out.
25, yes.
And reduce the other one by 10,
City council,
yes.
outside
We're-
authority, the city council.
That's correct.
Yes.
Yes, so I just want to make notes so that we're not going back and forth here. But you're saying the CPRE $5,000 was moved? Suggested that, okay.
I don't support that. I think that the work they do is important and that they are not compensated, as some boards are that we have. So the opportunity to do training so that they can do to the best of their ability. I don't feel like one person necessarily should only have the opportunity to go, so I don't support that. Like I said, we pay other boards for a lot less time, and this board isn't paid at all. This is just something to improve their skill set to serve the city. So, and I just wanted to also just raise the question, are we keeping the mechanic 1 position, the overnight position?
Which page are you,
I'm on this.
yeah, just like, okay.
So it's, A5132, it was the motor operator, the overnight position that we had discussed.
It's up for discussion. Well, that is showing $5,000 with benefit.
I made my position clear, but Mr. LaFawn said that we really need it. So if we're going to do that, then, to Ms. Torres' suggestion, I guess we should look at the fees for services.
Fees for service line.
Because this is supposed to save us money.
Well, it's also designed to improve the efficiency so that we're doing maintenance work on vehicles off the 8 to 4, 9 to 5 schedule so that the vehicles are ready to go the following morning as opposed to having them taken out of circulation during the day when people would want to use it.
So are you saying there will be no, we don't expect to see any savings by having this position?
Where you have an oil change, you still have to have the oil change. If you do it 9 to 5, you take the car out of circulation so we can't use it. If you do it 3 to 11 or whatever that time frame is, you can have the vehicle back in service the following morning. Now, some of those, hopefully we would pick up some savings, but you're still gonna have to pay for an oil change. You're still gonna have to do some of that work, and you have to ask Paul specifically what we think some of those incremental savings could be. But we're looking for operational efficiency is the big thing in that position.
So I'm clear on that. I just wanna know if we're having this position for our operational efficiency and we're sending some of these cars out now to do some of the work that this individual would be assigned to do. So where on our fees for service lines is a reasonable amount to see if we can get those savings.
But that's my point. We're gonna still have to, when we send the car out, we pay for the oil change outside. I'm saying we do the oil change in-house. We're not necessarily saving money on that.
Well, according to Mr. Fawn, because we have to transport the car some of this time, all of that, so. There just needs to be a
I
savings.
understand what you're,
That's a savings
There
in
is-
work, not savings in money. So instead of sending 2 people to
have to ask
the
Paul specifically what
I
he
will.
expects.
to the dealership to get the oil changed, you do it here, those 2 individuals can now stay working.
Well, if we're having somebody overnight doing some of this work, it's hard for me to understand why we're not having some savings. If this person is doing additional work that we're now sending out, it just doesn't make sense. That,
Right, so we'll ask Paul what
Yeah.
he anticipates getting.
So can we have that question into Paul, please?
I forgot what to do next.
Any other suggested changes? And just to add to the motor vehicle repair line, that is on page 36, just for us to, clarity. A 5132 462. That line was budgeted last year for 950,000. And the ask for 2024 is 990,000. So it's actually going up.
It's cost of materials.
Yeah. No, I just want to highlight that one so that we all on the same page.
What was the number?
Of page 36, last year 919,000 was in the
Oh,
adapted budget.
I got it, thank you.
2024 proposed is 990,000.
So I think it's worth noting, because we're moving to an impaired recess, it's getting the accurate listing of unfilleds, but viewing those compared to the significant police and fire not getting their full overtime ask. So that's the conversation that we're trying to answer. So I know that every department has a need, but based on Ms. Toro's, Ms. Patrick's, I apologize, Ms. Patrick's comments, that is one of her strong points. So that is what we're looking to answer tomorrow.
I think I'm the only person though that said that, so not everybody actually has weighed in on the police and fire, except for. Well, I've weighed in, but not in terms of like fully funding, so I point out that we have, there's been a lot of, funding that we've given towards the police department throughout the years, and whenever we, give additional funding, it's always been that this is going to help us reduce our overtime. That is always what our understanding is. I can tell you this, because if we put SROs in the school, and that was a major ask, and do we now begin to look at whether having SROs in the schools is what we should be doing, or we should be putting officers back on the street, given the fact that the school has a safety team? So. But I think even the school district has said that the SROs have been very, very important to have at the school, and I also think they give us money for.
They're paying
for those, yeah, they pay for the SROs.
But the fact is, we're talking about there's like not enough officers on the street, so approaching it from that perspective.
The school district generates enough calls to support those officers.
Okay.
So that we put them out on the street, it's only on paper because they're gonna be responding to calls that are originating from the schools.
Well, we have to look at every aspect of how we're utilizing our workforce.
My stance has been very clear on the police overtime and fire overtime budget since the beginning.
So
Just don't need to say it.
the other thing we have to consider is if we, once all these amounts are calculated, if we still don't get to fully funding both police and fire overtime, then, we should be figuring out how we're going to figure that out. So that needs to be something to think about. We don't know the numbers yet, but it may not be the number that we need.
Understand, but I mean, we should also look at fees for service. I'm just suggesting stuff, I'm not saying that, but we should look at that as a body here. Since we have already looked at the vacancies, we looked at the new proposal, why the suggestion on my side is to look at the fees for service and be able to achieve what we set out to achieve here, because
I think in doing that, we should definitely be looking at the year-to-date as well. So that we're, you haven't specified a department, but if we're gonna be looking at fees for service, I think for each department that we look at that, we should also look at their year-to-date spending.
is that a separate report can we pull for that?
Yeah, we're gonna,
Fees for
we'll
service.
get you an updated one till, as of tomorrow. As of today.
Actual as of
Today, it'll be as of today, because we'll get
Yeah.
it tomorrow.
So that we're so like 30 and 60 days by the time they bill us.
And we can look at it, and then look at the savings on these, after you provide us the updated report on the vacancies and the new bills. Any other suggestion that we can give to, so they can bring some numbers back to us and let's look at it? It's not that you're making a suggestion to cut, it's not, or bringing it to the table so that we can look at it on a broader scale and see if we can get some more savings, because at the end of the day, whatever we save will help two departments. And I'm willing to do that. I'm not gonna take my heels in. We're here to make a concession and move forward. And I'm encouraging all of us to do the same, please. Look over the budget this evening when you go home. I know it's painful. But have takeaways from here for Mr. Ferrari and his team to work on for us tomorrow.
Gonna get you-
Please email that to us.
Updated, year to dates, and I'll throw some suggestions in
Yeah.
your jobs too.
Please, it is your job and your responsibility. And if you can get that email to us, so we will look at it ahead of time.
Okay. Try to get done before the afternoon, actually.
And I encourage every member to please check your email, look at it, come back with your suggestion, and let's see where we are.
And we're here tomorrow at 5, I think, right?
Yes.
We already called for that meeting. Smart of Mr. Money to think of that.
We didn't update the revenue from the school district with regards to the police. Yes.
I'll take a look at it.
Yeah, I don't think we updated that. That was supposed to be getting increased.
I think we got the last year's, and I think we got 2 quarters of this year.
Yes.
We didn't get the third quarter
Yeah, there's a percentage increase into 2024.
yet. 2%.
2%.
Yeah. And then next year it's 3. 2, 3. But you know, like I said, it's not 100%. Those guys, they only get, I forgot how much it is per person they get.
You might want to
It's
just.
not, I'm saying that the portion of benefits, they don't get the benefit portion. Just their salary, that's
The
right.
SROs.
That's the schools, yeah.
Yeah, we need to, we might,
Yeah.
we should revisit those contracts.
How they got that 380 million.
All right. So, yeah, let's not waste any more time here, I think. So we'll recess until tomorrow, 5 p.m. And we're anticipating that you're gonna have all those information to us via email.
I'm gonna try to get to you before.
As much as you can, and we'll appreciate it. So motion to recess until tomorrow, 5 p.m.
So moved.
Second, all in favor? Aye.
So I don't need to call the meeting to order because we already have a scheduled special meeting for tomorrow. That's the word I wanted.